Okay, so here I'm going to try and thread the needle on how to set up auto trading without showing the obvious stuff that I shouldn't show, but also showing stuff that you need. So we'll see how we go. So the first thing is you need to set up a third-party tool. In my case, I'm trying PineConnector. So here you can see I'm set up in it. Basically, I created an account, paid my money, and then clicked on this little thing down here, followed their bouncing ball, which got me to here. And so then you see my PineConnector there, and it's there and running. One thing I will say that I noticed is when I double clicked here to put it in, which I have to double click here now, I had to put this license ID before I said OK. Otherwise, it wouldn't stay on the chart. I couldn't kind of close it and then come back and do it. So just keep that in mind if you're actually bothering with PineConnector, which is probably the best tool if you want to connect to MetaTrader. There's probably much better tools if you want to connect to just about anything else. My personal opinion is I'm not a fan of MetaTrader. It's 1990s technology and looks like it. And anyway, it's a personal thing. Don't need that for this video. So, follow the bouncing ball, get yourself set up with whatever third-party tool that you're using. And then make sure you got everything aligned. So here I'm on Euro USD. This is on Bitcoin. The reason on Bitcoin is because it's Sunday. So let me put this over to Bitcoin because you can't actually test trading if you're not actually trading. Although it's not too long from now when Forex will start trading again anyway. But we'll go to Bitcoin. This is going to tank once I set it up right because Bitcoin doesn't make money with this particular strategy. And look, there you've seen I got an error saying too much profit, but that's because we haven't yet put in Bitcoin spreads. Now, truthfully, the spreads in Bitcoin are about 34 for a 5 minute, but I just don't want to see the negative numbers. So, whoops, price. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller so I actually get some profit showing, right? Anyway, just for fun. Okay, so I'll let this come up. So we've got 5 minutes, Bitcoin, uh, Bitcoin, 5 minutes. I know it's hard to see, but it's the way it is. So now we got these things lined up. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to start setting the alerts up. So we go down to here and let's see, trading stretch. It's just going to be a bit further down. Let's keep that in mind. It's, maybe 4/5 of the way down, 3/4 to 4/5 of the total scroll. And then you'll see this major header, alerts. And we want to see a lot of stuff. So you're going to show it in manual. Actually, it's going to show the auto trading in the auto trading in the table. I'm going to show it on labels as well. And D space just means we take up less vertical space in here. I should just add in here on table so people don't think it's got anything to do with the other stuff. And I think this is checked by default. I've got it unchecked. So you might want to uncheck that. And that'll show trading stuff in here when it is trading. Now, we're going to do this with AI, and that's the methodology I'm going to show. So look how much money you can make when you don't allow for the spreads in Bitcoin. It's hilarious. That's literally saying I'm only starting with $500 just for fun. Anyway, so let's go over to let's see, what's the next step? Okay, so I've set up some AI instructions to do this because I think that's the easiest possible way. So I'm going to show you what they look like. So if I go over to here, you can now see this in Nexus, auto trading info. You just grab it. And then if you want to talk about auto trading here, if you want to get this here, I don't want anyone to talk in here. I want you to talk here and get this thing. So we'll start from the top, scroll all the way down to the bottom, shift, click, Control C, since you can't see my hands. And now we're going to go over to AI. And I would paste this in AI. And this is it here. So I'm not going to do it again. This is exactly that. Right, you can see it's pretty long. I think it's 630, 640 lines long or something. Let's see if this has got line numbers. I don't know if no, it doesn't. Okay. I know it's 600 and something lines long. So it's a lot of instructions. We pretty much all of yesterday to create. So put these instructions in, and then whatever you're trying to connect to, change this here. And this is your control panel for changing stuff. So you can take that out, just make that blank. Just this is where you change stuff. Just do what you need that suits you. If you're using an internal trailing stop, have that to true. If you're not, change that to false. Here's some information on what each of those are. So hopefully that's good enough. That should go away. That's PineConnector specific. I'll probably get rid of that. I'm trying not to have anything in this section that's specific to a particular connector. I only have that right at the bottom where we actually list connector specific things. And I've got one thing for PineConnector, which is there. So I'll take that other thing out. But it's not going to change the results at the moment. So knowing all this, once we put that in there, it's going to come back with results. Now, in the case of PineConnector can do everything that we want. And so it's going to give you some notes on what it assumed. It's going to give you references to all the things it used. And there should be some clickable links here so that you can actually go to the place where it got the information. And it's also going to put it above each one, not above this one. Then it's going to show the format for your what custom substitutions you want. And that, so how am I going to do this? I think we'll do this side by side so you can see this works from top down. So put this over here, put this over here, that there, that there. There we go. And go back down to here. So you literally can go from top to bottom here. So scroll down here until you get these big panels. And it's saying, put the license ID in here. Now, these are probably switched around. I might change the instructions and swap these because clearly this comes first, right? But you can see this is different to this. This is using relative price, but it's been changed over to percentage from entry because that's how TradingView works. Sorry, PineConnector works. So we're going to change all these to price from entry. And these are just instructions, so there's nothing to do there. And then here, we're going to put our license ID in from PineConnector. So I go over here, just grab that license ID. Where was I? Right, plonk that in there. It's already the correct one, but I'll just do it again. There you go. Oh, guess it wasn't the correct one. Must have been left over from a previous playing around. Okay, so now we've got the correct connector ID in there, which is important. And this show on chart is actually only for the in here. Now, why is this not showing anything in here? That should be showing some stuff. Did I not? Interesting. Maybe I have to. The other thing to remember is put this on templates if you've only got showing auto trading, because templates is auto trading, because these are all template fields. So once we do that, we should actually start seeing some info in here. Now, what you're going to see here is these should be in the exact order of here. So I can literally just say copy, paste. Right, I go down here, I'll paste it underneath, I'll see how much the same it is. And the only thing that I'm seeing, see two things different. This is an old one. This SL, instead of this SL percent, this is an old syntax. This is the newer syntax. And so I'll use the newer syntax, but let's make sure everything else is the same. So we've got license by symbol, license by symbol. There's no spaces in there, that's fine. Risk percent, That's stop loss percent instead of just stop loss, which come out to be about the same thing. Using meta, and then we got a comment on the end because I told it to add a comment, which is fine. Don't care whether the comment's there or not, to be honest. So that's pretty arbitrary for me. So that's all you need to do. You go down to the next one and you copy and paste them. And hopefully you've learned enough about the thing that you're using that, you can look at that and go, yeah, that makes sense. For me, I don't even care about these because I'm not using limit or stop orders. But I'm just putting them all in anyway, and I can go back and edit them later if I care, if I need to. So let's close. That's the cancel one, which is, I think they do cancel and close the same. So they're both the same. Go down to move stop. And let's see. Yep, there we go. There's move stop. Hey, stop moving on me. Okay. Go down to what is that? Long. Okay, so that is that. Oh, that is move stop. I think I already did that, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. And now we go down to take profit. We can actually move take profit these days, and that's probably this one. That's a new feature. I almost forgot about that. Okay, and just keep going down. Just copy and paste all of these things. Da, 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 da. See, what is that? Order limit, order limit. You can see all these names I've been careful to make sure all these names line up so it's easy to see where you are. You probably walk away, get a cup of coffee, come back, and even if you forgot everything, you should be able to line it up. And order stop, cancel, close. So the only real difference you're seeing in these is it's adding that comment ID thing on. I'll probably take that off again later. I'm just doing this, going through this whole thing to show you the process. Move stop and move take profit. And there, it's all set up. Now, before I go any further, let me show you some of the things that can go wrong with the AI stuff. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger again. You see, I did this with PineConnector. It says sharing because I actually shared this with some people. Let's pick another one, like say, PickMyTrade. And PickMyTrade actually, yeah. So this is what I wanted to show you. So in PickMyTrade, it actually stopped and said, hey, I have a conflict. Now I've actually given it rules to say, hey, rather than just go ahead and do stuff, stop and ask the user, tell the user what's wrong, give them some options and let them move forward. So if we just look down here, it'll tell you why it stopped. Still has the normal reference stuff, but once it gets to, and it's give you an example of where it's having an issue. And then it's actually saying, hey, look, here's what's going on. And this is the part, the last part. Here's what's blocking me. Now, in this case, what's it saying is, you told me you want to use relative values. So everything should be relative to the entry, right? So move the stop, whatever it is, 1% away from the entry point or whatever it is you're doing. But in this case, we said we also put a rule in the saying, do not use absolute values. And if you're going to, then stop and tell the user, don't just do it. And so that's what it's done. It says, look, the only way I can make this work is to use absolute values on the move stop thing. You can read this through for yourself. You'll come to the same conclusion. And so I said, okay, since that's the only way you can do it with this particular service, go ahead and throw it in. I'll look at it. And then I went ahead and put in those absolute values. And so now you can see it's done the template for PickMyTrade. But you've got to be aware that if you're going to use the move stop feature, which would be using the internal trailing stop, you're going to end up using absolute values, and there's always issues between TradingView and your broker where the values don't actually exactly match up. And so you got to be aware of that. One of the ways you can put some buffer in there that may help is if we go back to the settings here, scroll back down there. There is a feature here when I find it. Here we go. Relative values, spread multiple. So you can take the spread and multiply it by some amount to give yourself some extra space, so that if that might help you allow for the issues with the numbers not being exactly a matchup between TradingView and whatever your broker is. Will it work? Will it help? Maybe, maybe not. You're going to have to experiment and find out. But that's my one way around that may or may not, be of value depending on your strategy and everything. So the other things, let's try another one. AutoView went straight through. Just worked. It said, yep, no problems. As you can see, there's this thing, and it just went straight through. And when I say thing, I mean there's the end of the instructions. And you can see from the instructions, it just went straight through and created them all. No issues. Then we go to TradersPost, and it had a similar issue, right? It said, hey, got a conflict. I don't do relative values. You need to tell me, or I don't even do move stop. I can't remember what the actual issue was. So, but whatever the issue is, it had an issue where it didn't support something, telling you what it can do, and then it's giving you your option. Again, it's the move stop thing, right? A lot of these don't allow relative values on move stop. So now you can decide, tell it what you want it to do, and then move forward. You can see I've been doing some other things. What I actually did from here was when I got some that didn't do move stop, I asked and says, hey, give me a list of the ones that do X. And so you can actually do that. Go away, you. There we go. So I actually said, show me the ones that allow move stop. Show me the ones that allow relative values and move stops. This one's relative values. This one's actually takes move stop as an option. And then you can just see, right? So you can go and ask your chat thing, to get information in. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty much a cut and paste. And then if you have issues, if it's not working right, if the chat doesn't, your AI doesn't give you the right results, just talk to it, try and get the right results. And, eventually, hopefully, you will. I'll take this, what's that? It's not what I want. I want to go back to PineConnector. I'll get there eventually. Okay, so back on PineConnector. Actually, all this is done. There's nothing really to do here. It's been done. But as you can see, I can't help you with all of it, in this video, but except I can over time help because we have this auto trading thing here. And I encourage people to have messages that they have issues with in this channel here, auto trading, just right underneath auto trading info. And I'd like to build up a repertoire. So anytime we get one of these figured out that, like I'll put the one in for PineConnector, I'll move the final result from there into info so that we have the results for everything that anyone's ever tried ultimately. So I want to build up a repertoire of all these connections and the right settings or settings that work for each one of them, because it's going to take time and I can't do them all. I'm just doing one here for your example. So once you got to the point where you have all the settings in there, then the next step is to make sure it's giving you what you want. So I've turned on, I'll show you this. So we're going to go back to, so here's the start of a trade. So I'll widen this up. I've turned on, and you saw me do this, but I'll just go back as a reminder. Show on labels. And that's these. So every entry, every move stop, every exit is showing you the precise string that it's sending ignore the angled brackets. It's a precise string inside the angled brackets. So you can look at that and kind of say, yes, that's exactly what I want to send to my thing, or not. And then your next step, and I may get an error here because I have an ongoing issue with TradingView. Look at the video above this one. It's just a little 3 or 4 minute video explaining this issue. But the very next thing you do, your very last step, is to click on, say, make sure you have Nexus here. So if you click on the blank space, you're going to get different results. If you click on anything that belongs to Nexus, that very first one is going to be Nexus. Change it so that you're only doing alerts. We don't do autofills because that's only if you're using TradingView's internal strategy tester, and I'm completely replacing their strategy tester. All right. So give it a name. I'm going to call this one the same. I generally call them what they are up here. So I'm going to just going to copy that, Control C, come back here, Control V. So I'm going to call it notifications. Yeah, they're all fine for now. Alarm clock. I don't like people waking me up with alarms. That's a bit nicer. Nice little echoey ring going on there. And hit create. And it may come back with an error, or it may actually come back with a wrong place, an alert. I don't know which one it's going to do. You see, I did one before, and then I got an error on another one, and now we're about to find out what it's going to do. But that's it. That is literally your alerts. Oh, I should take it back. You have to follow the instructions of the other guys, which means you will have to click on Webhook and follow their instructions for the Webhook. Keep that in mind. I haven't got a Webhook here because I'm not ready to do it. And then for your troubleshooting, you may get errors and rejects. Those error and rejects, you have to go to whoever you're working with, like these connections, and find their logs. Well, that's a log out, not a log. But find their logs, find, messages. Like, so there's the log messages there. So I'd go over to here, look for the log messages, see what the error rejection was, and just work it through until, you got it working. And I'm sure every single one of these you deal with will have a log, just like PineConnector, because it'd be stupid not to. Did we get a rejection? Nope, but we haven't got that either. It takes about 1 minute in Nexus, because that's how long it takes to compile. And we probably used, I don't know, half of that, 3/4 of that or something. So a few more seconds, it's either going to come up or reject. Come on, it'd be lovely if it came up and didn't reject. We'll see what happens. But I'm expecting a reject because I do have an ongoing issue, and you'll see that in the video above. Okay, I'm going to pause here so you don't have to wait like me, and you'll see the results when it comes back. Okay, so you can see the error here. If you try this and you get the error, because for me it's been pretty random, like you can see, I got one up there, and then I got an error. I never know which way it's going to go. Come up here, contact support. Just so you know, when you want a support request because of their AI, it's the wrong way. Where do I do this? Chat assistance. Down here, just type create support ticket. And that'll get you past all the AI crap, just so you know. Yeah, and that's as far as I can take you. I can't actually show you it here because I'm waiting for TradingView to fix this error. But that is actually the last step, and then it's just troubleshooting through the third-party tool. So that's about it. Thank you.